You're listening to The Hardpoint with Onexpunchxdad and Code Rome's.
Welcome back to The Hardpoint, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Theodore Ignacio Scallywag, but I'm known on the streets as Texas Teddy.
My name's Cody. I go by C-Murd.
Yes, is my.
And that's actually how Josh sounds tonight.
That's actually how, that's my voice, baby.
Logged on, I was like, "What's wrong with you?" He's like, "What?"
Nice and deep, yeah. Oh yeah. Welcome back to The Hardpoint, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. So I'm getting over being sick. So my voice is down a few registers right now. I sound like an NPR radio DJ, unfortunately.
From somebody who already has a deep voice, when you have like recovering sick voice, which is 3 times deeper, it's really deep.
I feel incredibly sexy right now. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I could get my way, with like an older, like a 50-year-old woman. I was just like, hey, ma'am, can I carry your groceries for you? She's like, here's $500. She'll just hand me money.
Wouldn't that be sweet to have a sugar mama?
Yeah, no joke, man. I'd be all over that. It's not even a question. I would eat that up. Hey, how was your Thanksgiving, man? We just had Thanksgiving. That happened. The second inaugural Thanksgiving of the Hardpoint.
We did. We're coming back around to things now. It's pretty crazy.
We are. We're circling back a little bit here.
It was good. It was to be expected. I loaded up on mostly sides. I tried the ham. I got a big old piece of ham. Got some turkey. I think I realized that the meat being cold is like kind of what ruins it for me. I'm not going to bash on Thanksgiving food right now. But like,
what do you mean?
Cold turkey, just not great.
Oh, you mean like actual, not like quitting something abruptly. You mean actual?
No.
Like
no.
Like room temperature.
Yes. Room temperature
turkey.
Meat. Yes. Ate a lot of sides. We don't go anywhere as far as like traveling for Thanksgiving. We just go to Fort Worth.
Sure.
Where my wife's family is, which is great. And I'm glad I didn't travel because did you see all of the log jammedness of travelers at DFW airport?
I did not see the log jam at DFW. I did see, however, today there was someone riding around the Dallas area in a souped up truck that had a machine gun, like a mounted machine gun on the back of it.
Whoa.
And it made me think of you. I don't know if you encountered that guy or not.
Why would that make you think of me?
Because you live in the Dallas area.
Okay.
And there's a guy.
It wasn't the. I thought you meant like, boy, when you see a truck with a machine gun, you just think Cody.
Yeah, and that just has Cody written all over it. Yeah. It seems like something you would enjoy. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
Okay, I know you.
You're not wrong at all.
I know you, bro. I know you.
That's pretty terrifying. Was he firing anything or was he just driving around?
Nah, riding around. But it was legit like a mounted, like a 50 cal. It had like a belt of ammunition coming out of it and everything. This dude,
oh my God,
was like ready to go for no reason.
Ready
Dallas.
For what?
The revolution, brother. The next wave. Ready to take this country back by force if necessary.
I did not see that guy, and I'm glad I didn't.
But there was traffic on Thanksgiving. Did you hit some of that?
We didn't, but I heard at the airport, dude, people were sitting stationary for like hours trying to get out of the airport in their car. I mean, just getting out of there. DFW is weird because there's these like one entrance, and then it branches off to all the different terminals. And so all those terminals, when you're exiting, leads to the same main road with one exit. Well, there were so many people trying to leave that it was just stationed, log jammed for like hours, not moving. It's my worst nightmare.
Yeah. We had, when I was living in Washington, there was a big train derailment over I-5. Like a train jumped the tracks and crashed onto the highway.
Whoa.
And I-5 is like that one way in, one way out type highway. There's no access roads. There's no nothing. And so, yeah, people like literally were having to like abandon their cars because they couldn't get off the highway.
Dude.
Yeah, it was like people in their car for like 20 odd hours. Something insane.
Dude, I imagine a train crash is one of those things where it like no movie properly predicts how gnarly that would be.
Oh yeah, no, it was if you Google the Nisqually train derailment of I want to say it was like 2017 or 2018. It was like 6 people died, dude. It was crazy. It was an Amtrak.
Well, that, and I even mean just like witnessing it, just how like visceral that would be.
Oh yeah,
how loud it would be. I feel like it's one of those things where if you ever actually witnessed it, you're like, that was 1,000 times more intense than anything has ever depicted.
Yeah, I mean a train is a massive thing. I mean, I don't think especially like modern trains, like they are just enormous and they're moving. I mean, like this one was a passenger train, so it wasn't carrying like tons and tons of cargo necessarily, but it's still like a train is like, they're big and they move, if it's passenger train, it's moving for quickness, not for efficiency. So this thing is booking.
It's going for speed.
It's going the distance. But yeah, back to your point, being stuck in your car on the highway for any amount of time other than what I initially like identified as how long I'm going to be in there is miserable. I feel like this conversation alone makes me want to pack my car out with like snacks and maybe like an iPad so I can watch Netflix.
Some people are doomsday preppers. Yeah. We are sitting in traffic preppers.
Yeah. I guess not to out you, but your car, you could watch YouTube and stuff in there, I guess, if you got stuck.
You can. You have to be actually in park, so I'd literally have to be stationary, but yes.
Yeah, you could do that. Maybe
I could pull up the flicks.
Maybe play some Skyrim. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Skyrim on a touch screen. Sounds terrible.
You probably hook up I don't know. You can hook a Xbox controller to anything these days, man.
If I had one of those in my car. Yeah. Actually, this is reminding me. I need to go get a spare Xbox controller.
There you go. Just throw it in the trunk.
In my car.
Just throw it in the trunk for a rainy
What if you could
day?
drive the car with the controller while inside?
Well, it's funny you mention that because we're going to talk about driving a car with an Xbox controller later on this episode, but not in the way you mean. I think that's not outside of the realm of possibility. I mean, we just adopted a new air defense weapon system, which has a turret on the top that fires like a 30 millimeter machine gun and a Stinger pod.
So it's a rocket that has a turret on the rocket?
No, it's a vehicle that has a turret on it.
Oh.
But you control the turret with an Xbox controller. Yeah.
Really? Like a legit Xbox controller?
Yeah, with the X and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why not? They're Microsoft guys? Anybody push for a PS5 DualShock?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to believe it was probably a cost thing. They probably were like, yeah, we don't need all the DualSense like haptics bullshit in there. We can just opt for the easily manufactured Xbox controller, which is a sturdy solution nonetheless. But
is it what's the Pro?
It's not the Pro.
Ultimate or
no paddles on this one, man. Unfortunately.
How was your Thanksgiving?
I had a pretty good Thanksgiving, man. We kept it easy. I did a turkey breast. I didn't want to waste a ton of meat because I know the kids aren't going to eat a ton of turkey. So I did a breast, brined it, gave it a little salt bath overnight, and then I did a turkey and your favorite, a ham. The next morning. Just did it in the oven this year. I thought about smoking it, but was getting up early, that's fighting the wind and all that stuff. I was just like, I'm just going to get it hot and get it cut, get it ready. So
Get it, eat ready.
Get it ate. Yeah. And as you said, it was probably when we finally got to serving time, it was probably nice and room temperature. So that is something like, you're making so many dishes on Thanksgiving. It is kind of hard to time like a timely, like we want the meat to be like hot.
There's no way.
Like when I make barbecue, I'm very careful to like, I want this, like you let it rest, but it stays hot while it rests.
Right.
What you want when people eat it, you want it to be far above room temperature. Yeah. There's nothing worse than like cold barbecue. So, but yeah, I don't know. I can never time it right on Thanksgiving, but it was fine. It was fine.
Happy.
I have a hard time believing that you don't like ham still. Like that, it doesn't.
Why would I lie about that?
I don't think you're lying about it. It's just hard to believe, man.
I'll show you next time. Bring me a ham and you can watch me not eat it.
Oh, that's not. How do I know you didn't front load something that you're just not hungry, man? I need real I need to watch you chew it. I need to witness the unpleasantness on your face. What is it about ham that you don't like?
I can't cut it. Well, okay, it's
you can't
kind of like chewy. You can't cut it with a plastic fork by itself.
Well, you're not. You shouldn't be doing any of this with a plastic fork. This is the big leagues, kid. Metal utensils.
I was served a plastic fork.
Is that your barrier to entry on ham? Someone handed you a plastic fork and was like, figure it out.
Kinda, and then I'm trying to saw it on a styrofoam. You know those little like dinner. It has the sections on it. The rectangle. Tray.
Again, you're blaming your dislike for ham on just a low rent Thanksgiving that you had maybe once. Have you ever had this shit on like a porcelain plate with metal utensils? It slaps, man. It's amazing.
Not this year. Maybe I need to have it like with the proper utensil. I don't know. I got a big piece. I didn't want to like tear it with my fingers. It was just like kind of tough and chewy and slimy and cold. None of those are words I would use to describe a meat that I like to eat.
If I gave you some good chili, but I gave it to you in an ice cream cone, does that mean the chili's bad, or does that mean I'm just not good at teeing up food for you?
Good point.
Okay. Ham can be good. Okay, if I took some ham, Thanksgiving Day ham, because I've done this, cubed it up, tiny little cubes, itty bitty little 1/2-inch pieces. Put that in a pan, got it hot, put a little brown on it, put some eggs in there, put a little cheese on top of that, little ham and cheese scramble. How we feeling?
I would eat that.
Okay.
I would eat that.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I would argue that you would like regular ham if you would eat that. I need you to.
All right, we'll leave this open.
I need you to come out on this ledge with me, man. Ham is good. Ham is good.
Well, next Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You're hosting. I'll come over.
I'm telling you, ham only
porcelain
Thanksgiving.
Served ham.
Christmas. Hey, who doesn't enjoy a good Christmas ham?
True.
Extra slimy.
Did you deep fry your turkey?
No.
And set your house on fire?
No. For one thing, I feel like anyone I know who has a deep fryer like that is only using it for their turkey. I have deep fried a turkey. I did it when I was very young and somehow did not cause a grease fire. Don't know how that happened because I am very much like the dude who would catch my neighborhood on fire. I saw somewhere on the news that someone was frying a turkey in their garage. So it's I'm assuming the garage is open, but they had the fryer in their garage. $4.2 million house caused the grease fire. The flames towered and burned that house to the ground.
Saw that.
Yeah, it's turn the burner off. If you're listening to this and you're thinking about frying a turkey, all you have to do to not cause a grease fire is when you put the turkey in, which takes no more than 2 minutes. And that's if you're really like going slow. Turn the burner off. Your grease is not going to lose that much. It may overflow if you didn't get your bird to grease ratio right. But
don't fill the thing to the brim and then put the turkey in there.
There's a way you can test it. Like I've seen some people do like a displacement test where they will take their turkey and like wrap it in like a plastic bag or something and put it in a bucket that has cold oil in it. And they will see how much oil they need to like completely like saturate the turkey. And so they kind of get a good idea of how much oil they're supposed to use. But even if you overfill, if you have the burner off and there's nothing to ignite that grease, then all you have is just some grease on the ground and maybe, you know, a burn on your foot. But that's way better than a giant towering inferno and a burnt ass turkey. So,
and a $4 million house down
the drain. Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to be fighting their insurance company over that. They're going to be like, oh, none of this really sounds like natural causes.
Sounds very self-inflicted.
Yeah, I don't know. This sounds like a pre-existing condition to me a little bit. So we're all about safety here on the Hard Point. We're also all about crushing stuff. I just love it. I crush stuff almost daily. As a matter of fact, Cody as well. We've grown close over our love of crushing, and so we grew a segment out of that. We call it "What Are You Crushing?" Cody, what have you been crushing this week, man?
Got a couple things for you.
The way you just wound up, man. You got about to throw the heat.
I'm still on Stalker.
Okay, Stalker 2.
It hasn't Stalker 2 hasn't let up at all. I texted you a few days ago.
Yes.
That game has me in a death grip, chokehold, all the above. I need somebody in the comments to like
back you up.
I mean, yeah, anybody. Does anybody like, do they have a history with this game? Is old. It's an old PC game. There's a ton of lore. There's a cult following of Stalker. I need somebody to like talk to me about this. Now, the second game has way more like commercial buzz. It's way bigger than any of the other games ever were.
Yeah, this is, I think we touched on last week, this is kind of a Helldivers 2 situation where you're like, what is Helldivers 1?
Right.
I mean, this is great, but.
Exactly. And so somebody in the Discord, somebody in the comments, relate to me right now, man. Tell me how awesome Stalker is. Tell me, yeah, I was playing Stalker back in whenever on the PC. It's great. I'm so into the lore and so into the story and so into that universe right now. I can't get enough of it. I just can't. I want to drink and inject Stalker straight into my veins.
Stalker 2 straight to the dome.
It's so good.
I'm glad. Really so this is kind of like the barrier of like, if you've made it this far into a game as someone who you're pretty touch and go with video games.
Yes.
If they're not like super good. And there has been a no small amount of people who are kind of pushing back on Stalker 2. Not that it's bad. But I am pleased to hear that. How many hours do you have in Stalker 2?
I think I just crossed 20.
20, okay. And you'd say it's got you like pretty well. Like, you're gonna go 30, 40?
I'm gonna go until I finish. I've kind of given it the Red Dead treatment where I am focusing on the main story because I just want to see it through.
Yeah.
Before I will at some point lose steam. I did on Red Dead. I will on this game, and I don't want that to happen before I've seen the main story through. So
sorry, I keep cutting you off, man. I'm sorry. That is kind of an interesting methodology, though, because I feel like one thing that causes me to burn out on a lot of these bigger games is the side quests. Like, I just get so dug down and trying to like find 20 chickens or something like that.
Right.
Maybe the best way to make these games matter on your first playthrough is just to book it to the finish line.
Yeah.
And then in retrospect, when you realize everything you missed, you kind of do have incentive to go back and have a more definitive experience with the game. Do you feel like that's potentially true?
I think so. That's exactly what I did with Red Dead. I knew it was a long game. I knew I wanted to finish. And I know myself. I only have a certain amount of effort and stick to it with a game the first go around. So I was like, I'm not going to give all my bandwidth to getting lost on these side quests and all this stuff that's not the main story. I'm going to see that through. And then when I finished Red Dead, I started a new game. And as soon as you kind of get through the prologue and you get to the open world, I didn't progress one mission. I did nothing but explore the world and just find all the little hidden stuff and do side stuff.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you have two experiences with it. And to me, exploring is more fun once you're kind of familiar with the game a little bit.
I agree with that.
In the beginning, you're so new and you don't know what you're looking at and you don't know this. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
But through kind of a second pair of eyes that has seen the main story through and has spent 30 hours with this game, exploring is a lot more fun. So that's the treatment I'm giving. I have done hardly any side quests or really much exploring outside of like the main story.
You're really opening my eyes to like a potential way to kind of like rediscover these games, because there's just so many. I did the same thing with Witcher, right? Like I had my initial playthrough with Witcher 3 kind of burned out because there were so many side quests that I was doing, but I made it through a significant portion of the game. And when I went back and had what I consider to be that was the time I really got the game, I understood the world and the progression of the story a little better. So I was able to take appropriately sized bites. So maybe that's the trick, man. Like even with Cyberpunk, like I do feel myself kind of getting stuck in these like, go find 20 guys, go steal 10 cars, go find 20 hard drives, whatever.
Go kill this cyber freak, go do all this side stuff.
And it's not that that's not fun, but I don't like, it's hard to do that and negotiate the story and learn the world all in one fell swoop. And unless you just have infinite amount of time to do all those things, you can get saturated and overwhelmed pretty quick.
I think it is inevitable that at some point you're going to get a little burned out. And I think if you go too wide with your playthrough, you try and do too much, you're going to get bogged down and you're not going to see it through. And I have a bad problem. This happens with shows, movies, games. If I get a certain amount in and I burn out, the likelihood of me never finishing whatever that is ever is very high. Yeah. Because by the time I circle back around to it, I don't remember enough about it to pick up where I was. But you start over and it's like you remember everything you're doing. Yeah. You don't remember enough to pick up where you left off, but you feel like you're replaying everything up to that point. So I just end up not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing or the same reason I never finished Elden Ring, right? Like that is a game where you need to train your muscle memory. You need to understand like how to move in that game, because the game is constantly trying to kill you and humble you. I stepped away from that game for not that long, and going back to where I was, even at the high level or the higher level that I was, I mean, little enemies were killing me. Right. And it was a thing of like, and then I tried starting a new character and it was like, dude, I'm starting to remember how much fucking grinding I had to do to get where I was at. Like, I don't know if I can do that again. I really don't.
You need that initial just like surge of enthusiasm for this game. You need it to carry you through the main story. Yeah. See that through. And then whatever's left over, you can kind of dish it out to the rest of the world.
I agree with that. But anyway, back to Stalker 2. I'm glad. It sounds like it's got you, and it sounds like you've got a good methodology to at least get through a proper playthrough, and maybe even circle back on the back end and do maybe a second playthrough where you kind of go into some of the more dense content. Yeah,
that's the plan. Yeah. It is fucking terrifying.
Really,
at parts, man. It is. Like, it is very, very, very tense and very scary. I've never played a game with as much atmosphere as this game had. My wife the other day I swear to God, she sent me to heaven. I was sitting here locked in, my headphones, dude, and I'm like, whatever. And I just see she's trying to wave around me like this to my side, and I see a hand, and I screamed at the top of my lungs and threw my headphones off. And my heart was do-do, 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 do-do. I thought I was going to have a heart attack.
She got you, man.
Dude. And she was like, I'm sorry. Like, she knows that I'm in this game, and I'm like, it's scary, and you can't come in my office like that. Call me. Just can't sneak up on me like that, because I'm going to die.
Are you playing it in the office where you're at, where you like, do you do the thing you do with the Callisto Protocol, where you kind of like sensory deprivation yourself? And
yeah, I turn off all the lights and throw my headphones on and just shut the door, and I'm right here on the screen.
You're a maniac, dude. I couldn't do that. Couldn't do it.
It's scary, man. It makes me feel alive, though.
I'm too chicken, man. I couldn't do it. That is awesome. The game's very, just all the gameplay videos I've seen of it. It looks very dark. Everything's like brown and rusty.
Yep.
Looks real.
In the nighttime, man, you can't see without your flashlight.
Yeah.
But your flashlight attracts things. So,
God,
dude, it's great. Anyways, I will continue talking about Stalker. I got more to say. I don't want to burn all the time on this.
I've been thinking actually what I might do this weekend is get Stalker and run some so we can have a Stalker specific episode and just gush on it.
Do it. It's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Just download it.
It's no brainer.
I love it, man. I love it. I don't think there's any middle ground. You're going to bounce in it and love it, or you're going to bounce right off of it. I don't think there's a medium, like, middle ground feeling towards this game.
Well, you're
going to love it, or you're going to be like, that's just not my type of game.
Your recommendations typically carry a good amount of water with me. So I'd say if I can get it to at least the 10-hour mark,
yeah,
that's saying something. So
hell yeah. And the last thing, I saw Gladiator.
Hell yeah. Gladiator 2, yeah.
I texted you right after. I gave it a 10 out of 10. It is fantastic.
Cody, are we back at the movies?
I went with my dad and sister, and my wife stayed back with the baby. So not really. It was me and my wife's one of our favorite thing to do, but we can't go do it now without a babysitter.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And if we're going to get a babysitter, we'd rather go do something that we can actually like hang out and not just do something we could do at home. So not really. This was kind of a one-off. I missed the movie so much.
I mean that in the term of like, do you feel like movies are back?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I thought I took that too literally.
No, you're good. Yes, you were physically at the movies, but a lot of people are kind of hailing this movie as like, I feel like we got some of this with like Top Gun Maverick. Like people were like, hell yeah, movies are back, baby. But
I think they are. I saw poor reviews. Did you not?
I've seen mostly good reviews. I've heard some people say that it's kind of like the story's kind of canned. Like there's no big like, no huge like twists or anything, but that all in all, it's still good as hell.
Okay. I saw bad reviews. And then my sister, as we're walking into the theater, turns to me and my dad and says, my friend saw this last night. She said it sucked. I'm like, okay, well, I
don't tee it up like that. Come on now. Killing the vibe.
Dude, it ended, and I turned to them and I said, I need somebody to explain to me how that movie sucked.
Your friend was wrong.
10 out of 10, man. It was so good. So good. So go see Gladiator, download Stalker, and let's talk.
I got to know what your dad thought, because your dad's kind of a cinephile. He has a deep appreciation for movies. Was he into it?
Oh, yeah. So we all three walked out of there like 10 out of 10. He loved it.
Damn. Okay. Even sister.
And I did. This is going to sound crazy. I've never seen Gladiator 1.
That is crazy. Are you kidding me?
And that morning, I spent the morning watching recap videos and reading about it. So I knew I was very well versed. I will say, if you haven't seen 1, which it sounds like I might have been the only guy.
Yeah. You're the guy. It's so good to meet you. Holy shit.
You can't go see 2 without knowing in great detail what happens in 1. Like, it is a direct sequel. So if you don't have any context as to what happens in 1, you will be so lost it's not even funny in the second one.
So there you have it, folks. As long as you're not C-Murd, you're fine, because he's the only guy on planet Earth who didn't see Gladiator 1. I never knew that about you, man. We would have watched it 100 times if I had known that. The second you'd mentioned I've never seen Gladiator, it would have been on the screen.
What about Braveheart? Do I need to see that?
So I haven't seen Braveheart in a long time, but I definitely saw it a lot growing up. There was a big phase like throughout the late 90s and mid 2000s where people were like really obsessed with like these man movies, right? Like Gladiator and Braveheart. And I think it kind of went even through to like 300 kind of being one of those, right? Have you seen 300?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there are movies like that, right? Like they're very bro-y. There's not a ton of women in it, and if there are women in there, they're just kind of like plot devices. But Yeah, Braveheart's good, man. It's long. They're very long, but if you got the time, you've watched movies that are probably longer and not as interesting as Braveheart. I'll tell you that.
All right.
So
I'll put it on my list.
yeah, man, get in there. We gotta do some clean sweep on your cinematic experiences there.
I know. Go see Gladiator. What are your questions?
So my questions this week pretty light. Just kind of getting back into the flow of like being able to sit down and watch stuff. But I did find briefly. I will touch on. Well, the first thing I'll touch on is, for whatever reason, I loaded up Red Dead Online again. I just wanted to get. I know Cody.
That game.
Cody loves Red Dead Redemption 2, the story, but I never could get him sold on Red Dead Online. I understand it is kind of a lesser experience to some degree, but I cranked a lot of hours into that game mode rather. I'm a very rich man in Red Dead Online. I'm very well respected in that community. I'm not. I do have a lot of money in that game though. But I loaded it up. I just kind of wanted to play it and walk around. There's been a lot of buzz about the thing that we're going to talk about here in a second, and it's kind of got me in that Rockstar mode. It's still fun, man. Like, there's still moments. Like, I was playing with a friend of mine, and we were riding at night past like the Valentine area, and I was like, hey, stop for a second. She's like, what? I was like, put your camera back and just look at the moon. And it was just so fucking beautiful, dude. Like, we were both just like two cowboy silhouettes against like this giant moon background. And it was like, how many games make you do that? How many games make you stop and just like behold? You know what I mean?
Not many, man. That game is the best at it.
It really is, man. Red Dead Online, like we talked about, I think last year, about how online kind of loses a little bit of its sheen. There's not as much like, I don't think the light and the atmosphere hits quite the same way online, just because of how much is being rendered in real time, and the cities and towns do seem a little less alive. But it's still a really fun experience. I will say there is no new content. There is nothing new there. So if you have done all of the roles and completed that, you're not missing anything. It's really sad. Red Dead Online, I've talked about this before, but I will say that I understand they probably felt the need to surge on GTA 6 at Rockstar, and it was all hands on deck for that. But man, had it not been for that, I really feel like Red Dead Online could blossom into something twice as cool as what it is. And my hope is that once they get GTA 6 out the door, maybe they swing back and start adding some content back to this. But anyway, yeah, for what it's worth, played some Red Dead Online. And I also threw on a show on Netflix that I found very interesting. It's a show called Pantheon. It's on Netflix. This is an animated show. It is animated very much in the style of Invincible, which is on Amazon Prime, about the son of Omni-Man, the superhero, kind of a dark take on the superhero genre. This is not nearly as gory or as gratuitous as like Invincible or The Boys or anything like that. It's very much, in my experience so far, more of a PG-13 experience. It's also a little less funny. There's a lot more kind of cerebral kind of stuff in it. But the basic premise of Pantheon is there's these kind of competing companies that have unlocked the technology to upload consciousness into like a hard drive or a computer, right? Or the internet, whatever. Which is unfortunately done so by destroying the brain. It's a lot like that show Upload that was on Amazon a couple of years ago, where if you were dying or dead, they could put you in this like kind of online world, but at the cost of like they had to disintegrate your head. This is kind of similar to that.
Wow.
Anyway, but yeah, there's these people who are dying or dead, and they this machine literally like scans their brain, which basically eats their brain, molecule by molecule, and they get their consciousnesses, their minds, whatever. Consciousnesses.
I think it's conscious nigh.
Yeah, they get digitized pretty much, and there's this whole, there's a lot of conversation about like, is this actually them? Is this, is this a copy of them? Is it actually them? And there's a lot of really interesting stuff, but there's a lot of kind of like through lines, like comparisons to like there's kind of a Steve Jobs type character for this company that's got all these kind of like really devoted employees that kind of almost deify him in a way. It's a really good show. It's an AMC series, I think. I see the FX logo when the episodes start, but it is on Netflix right now. It's actually really beautifully animated.
Look it up real quick.
Yeah, a lot more subtle than Invincible, but a lot of the animation and art style is really making me think of that show. But I'm really enjoying it. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. I want to say it's probably 10 episodes, as most shows are.
Here it is.
But it's extremely interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. So Pantheon,
Nice.
Pantheon,
looks cool.
Yeah, very much enjoying that.
Pantheon.
Pantheon. Panamum. Hello,
With a
Miss.
D?
Hello, Miss Lady.
Good crushings.
Yeah, excellent crushings.
All right, let's get into our meat sandwich.
Let's get into some protein here. So around this time last year, Cody and I think we were on episode 3, 4 maybe. Just had started the show. Still in our fledgling episodes. And that was around the time that we were graced even, by the very first trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. It was about, I can't remember, it's about a minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe of pre-rendered cutscene footage, I'd call it. There's not really any in-game gameplay type stuff. It is a very high-level look at the world that's kind of being prepared for us in this game. We talked a lot about that. Again, you can kind of circle back. That's probably episode 3 or 4. It's in the title. You'll find it there. Sorry for not having that ready. 220.
It's 4. 3 was Vagrant.
3 was Vagrant.
So
that's right. It must
go to
be
4.
Thank you. 223 million views later. 223 million views later. This trailer is really all that we've gotten in terms of clues or offerings or inklings from Rockstar. They've been largely radio silent with regard to GTA 6. There have been rumblings. There have been rumors. I think, Cody, a couple weeks ago we talked about the moon. Was it the moon theory about a second trailer? I
don't think it was true.
Yeah, apparently not. But Cody had mentioned there was something about a moon or something that was featured in a tweet. Maybe that was the moon on the trailer date for last year in 2023 that had some people thinking that we were going to get the second trailer.
I'm gullible. It doesn't take a lot for me to be like, eh?
I don't think it's gullibility, man. I think it's hope. It's hope, right?
Yeah, maybe so.
It's hope. We all want that second trailer, man. We want that next look at what we're going to be doing for the next decade, off and on in video game land. So we haven't gotten a second trailer, but we have gotten sporadic leaks. And I do want to kick it to Cody and ask, have you seen any of the leaked? They're really just stills, screenshots, and I say that loosely because a lot of these look like it is a picture taken from a phone of another phone.
Right.
Type. Have you seen any of these images at all?
I'm going to look them up right now. The only leaked stuff that I've seen was like the original. You remember when before the trailer ever dropped, that gameplay that looked, everybody was, like bashing the graphics, and then people were coming in saying, dude, the making it look good is like the last thing that happens. Like what you see here is just trying to make the game function.
Yeah, I remember that footage because it did have a lot of like weird, like kind of like grid lines and stuff. And you could tell a lot of it was there probably for like dev purposes, right? Of just like, hey, this needs to be here. And when you're looking here, this should look like this. But there is a series of probably, I want to say like 6 or 7 images, maybe if that, of what looks like, you got the boat kind of cruising through.
Oh, okay, here we go. I'm looking at the boat.
The boat kind of cruising, and it's got some dialogue there. It's like Lucia talking to
Lucia, help Jason.
Yeah. There's that. There is another one of pretty, not gonna lie, smoking hot video game lady chilling in a hot tub. Dude, I got a feeling some of these GTA character models are going to have us acting up over the next 10 years, dude. I mean, I'm just being real. And then there's some other stuff that really just kind of looks to kind of feature on really like kind of look at the characters. There's not too much of the world there. We already know that it is going to be in essentially centered in Vice City, and kind of expanded to include other regions of that state or the surrounding counties. It's meant to represent Florida pretty much. So,
man, this boat screenshot is pretty.
Yeah.
It looks legit and it is dense, man. Just like the forest and the
foliage and the
foliage
and the you can tell. See, we talked about this last year. There's a lot of stuff I think that's going to come through the lens of Red Dead 2 from GTA 5. You know what I mean? Like GTA 5 was fun, but it has kind of a very Xbox 360 look to it.
Right.
I think when you start to look at that world in terms of like what they were able to do with Red Dead 2, like when you're in a swamp and you can't see that well, and all you have is this like misty silhouette of your character and everything's real hazy and amber colored. That's the kind of stuff I'm really excited about seeing. I'm excited about playing that game in a world that's kind of lit and operates and feels like Red Dead 2, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, totally. I just can't believe how, like, even the water, the way the water looks behind the boat. This looks pretty legit. I mean, this looks like a leak, and you got like the dialogue and then the map in the bottom left.
Yeah.
It looks like,
You mentioned the water. I have to believe that they had a team. I mean, if we're talking Florida, right? Mm-hmm. So there's the Everglades, there's the Keys, the ocean is just, I mean, this is a peninsula. I have a feeling that this is going to be some of the best video game water that we've ever seen.
Oh yeah. Man, I told my wife the other day and she laughed like I was joking. I said, when GTA 6 comes out, I'm taking a week off of work. And she laughed.
I really do think productivity around the world when that game hits a worldwide release is just going to plummet.
I'm building up my good favor, my cookie points from now until the release of GTA, and then I need about 9 days just to get this out of my system.
Start banking those kudos, man. Start banking those brownie points. You're gonna need them. Yeah. I mean, everything I've seen from this game up to this point's got me excited, man. This is on track to be one of the biggest games of our life, honestly. And I'm not trying to hype it up. I know there's tons of money behind this game, millions and millions of dollars. It's not going to be surprising if it's good, but I think this is going to end up being a lot. I mean, GTA 5 in a lot of ways came out 11 years ago, is way bigger than any of us thought it would be. I mean, they're still releasing active, working, thought out DLC for the online offering for GTA 5 this year is crazy. You know what I mean?
I'm wondering. Yeah, no, it is. I mean, they have kept up the ongoing releases for that game, over 10 years. This game, I can see it being one of two things. I can either see it just being I think some people are taking it a little, like the video that you sent me before we started recording about the guy saying that like there's going to be currency inside the game, and I didn't even totally understand like what he was saying.
So
I think.
So go ahead.
No, you're good. I answer that, then I'll come back to my thought.
Well, I think what he was alluding to is just that. Like I think if you give people away, because like classically to date, like in Red Dead Online, if I earn $1,000 in that game, there's no way for me to give you $1,000.
Right.
There's no way for. I mean, even in in GTA 5 Online, to my knowledge, there's no way to actively pay another character for a service. I think you might be able to in some fringe circumstances, but there is no there's a way to earn money, but there's not a way to transact money between characters. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Most of the money you earn, like, you know, we hopped on like a year ago and tried to kind of get into it. You earn money when people go to your business. Like we did the nightclub thing, and people like NPCs come to your nightclub and you earn money from that, but that's not other players coming and utilizing your business.
Right.
What I'm curious if Red Dead can pull off is that you let me start some kind of business, whether it's whatever, drugs or a nightclub or whatever, a food truck, fuck it. And there is a way for other characters, other players to come and proprietary my business. Or maybe that's a stretch, but maybe I unlock a skin or a vehicle. Or maybe I just buy one and that vehicle skin is no longer on offer in the store, as happens sometimes. And now I have it. Now it becomes more rare. Now the value of that vehicle or skin or gun, whatever, goes up. And now I can sell it to another player. I think that's what that guy is talking about.
Okay. That makes sense. That's not how I took it, but that makes more sense. I thought he meant like real, like you could make real money in that game. Like there's going to be some sort of currency that like you could make money in that game and somehow it would translate to like being real.
I mean, I really do think if you have that kind of in-game economy where, I mean, you have like in World of Warcraft, you have people who will, all they do is start characters, build them to a certain level, a certain like spec build ability level, and sell those characters to people who just want to. I just want to have like a super overpowered whatever mage. I never played World of Warcraft. That was a real thing. No, a lot of that was under the table, and that was just me like PayPaling you. But maybe there's a way to unite those things. Maybe there's a way for people to have a living, breathing economy in this game where you have things in this game that no one else has, or if they want them,
you want those,
if they want them, they either got to steal them, or they got to work for them, or they got to buy them with online currency, or they can buy them from you, or they can work for you,
right?
And you can pay them a
that
wage.
Would be crazy.
I really do think if you look at how far GTA 5 Online, which was just chaos and craziness when it first launched, to now the actuality that we have a living, breathing economy within this game, not even 10 years from now. I think that's way too far out. I think within a couple of years of the launch, the online offering, very realistic.
That's crazy. I feel like this game is going to be baseline just like a really good game. I'm wondering what the X factor is going to be, though, because we've come from Rockstar to expect... people are expecting this to be like earth-shattering, groundbreaking, the likes of which we've never seen in a video game. But I wonder why. Like, what is that X factor going to be? Because if it's just an open world with good graphics, we've seen that before. Like, there's got to be something about this game that sets it apart from any other game that we've ever seen. What that thing is going to be really curious to me.
So I think for you and me, it's probably both going to start with the story, right? I mean, there's no way I'm touching online before I negotiate the story and get all the way through that. Especially because Rockstar typically offsets their online launch. You know, I don't think it would surprise me. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it would surprise me to find out that they're launching GTA 6 online or GTA Online 2, whatever they're going to call it, the same day that the actual story mode becomes available. And I think that's probably with reason. I think there's people who've been playing GTA Online for years that have never played the story mode. I think so. And I know that's true of Red Dead Online because I meet people all the time playing Red Dead Online who are like, I never played the story.
That's bonkers to me.
Absolutely bonkers. But here's what I'll say. I think the story in a modern day setting, I think Rockstar knows what works. Yeah. Honestly, I think they probably have a pretty solid story. It's at some level, multiple endings likely. I always got my only frustration with Red Dead is there's really no like there's alternate things that can happen. Like, you know,
Right.
like you can be mean Arthur and you get a crappy grave, or you can be nice Arthur and get a good grave. But like the story progresses the same way. There's no way to
Right.
save Arthur. There's no way to kill John or anything like that. I think, and that was something like GTA 5. You can kill Michael. You can kill Trevor. You can kill not CJ. Who's the other guy?
Michael, Trevor,
Oh, it's gonna be everyone's gonna be like, you forgot because he's black.
Franklin.
Franklin, thank you. I think any of those three or a couple of those three can die at the end. So I think we see some of that. I think it's going to be, it seems to be centered around this Lucia and her boyfriend character.
Yeah.
Maybe Jason is his name. I can't remember. Maybe it becomes a thing of betrayal. Maybe it becomes a thing of like, hey, you can be him, betray her, kill her, send her to jail. You can be her, do the same to him. Or you have another ending where they ride off like Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that's enough for me. As long as the world is immersive, I don't need Christopher Nolan levels of storytelling. I just need a pretty good story and a world that makes me feel like I'm fucking in it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm pretty right there with you. What is your level of too much like role playing? Like you got to eat for stamina, you got to sleep, you got to exercise, you got to like actually day-to-day tasks to keep up your character. Is there too much of that for you? Like could there be too much of that?
I think like Red Dead kind of touched on that in like the perfect way. Like I've gone long stretches working and forgotten to eat, and I didn't fucking die. I didn't pass out. Like my health bar didn't start emptying out like crazy. But also in that game, like you aim worse if you don't eat on a regular basis. If you drink, it fucks with your stamina. There's a lot of ways that food and sleep and alcohol and cigarettes affect your health, but they don't necessarily make you die. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people want to play like, oh, I want to play in survival mode. You know, like I tried playing Skyrim in survival mode, and it's like if you don't have 20 pieces of bread, you fucking die. You just like keel over and have a heart attack. It's like that's boring. I don't want that. Like, you know, working yourself to the bone, you know, not eating, not sleeping. I could see those things making your aim worse or making it harder, you know, because it does sound like there's going to be stuff that involves leveling. Like we talked about last year, how, you know, one of the big kind of rumors coming out of this was that like breaking into a car was going to be kind of a leveling thing instead of just like every GTA, you're just able to just like elbow the window out and hop in. Like that's a skill that you can actually hone. I could see like if your character's not eating, drinking, and doing some of the survival mechanics on a regular basis, that maybe you don't get as many points for doing those things and leveling up. But if you're well nourished and you've rested or whatever, then you're getting the maximum amount of like return on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. It has an effect on things, but it's not overbearing.
It doesn't halt progress. Yeah.
Right. I think something that would be really cool too is like weapon custom, like a deep weapon customization type thing, almost like COD level of like being able to do different attachments and really like make your own weapons yours. I think that might be kind of cool.
Yeah. I think, you know, another thing that kind of came out today that we were talking about off pod was this is related, but also not related, but I think Red Dead did a really good job of like items, every item in the game kind of feeling like it was real, you know, like walking into a store, you can normally you go to the catalog and you're just like, oh, I need tobacco or whatever. Like you just buy it there, but you can actually go to the shelves and you can pick it all up by hand. And you can kind of turn it around in your hand and look at it. And now with GTA 6, they're talking about these procedurally generated items, which I don't know. We've both kind of like tossed around what that could mean. What I hope it means is that my voice is fucking cracking now. What I hope it means is that is that it's going to give you a chance to kind of explore items and places like kitchens and bedrooms on a more deep level. Now, do I really want to go and be able to like draw the curtains or root around in the fucking silverware drawer? Probably not. But there's probably some instances where I want to be able to kind of like pick up and examine a lot more items. You know, I mean, fuck, I don't know, man. Maybe it is a thing where you can actually go in there and like you can get a butter knife out of the drawer if you want.
Right.
You know,
like everything is, you can interact with, if you see it, you can interact with it type thing.
Yeah. And I think again, it's like the survival mechanics, right? There's probably a line where that becomes a little too much. Like with Fallout, my greatest frustrations with that game is that everything is an item, right? You can, everything can go into your inventory, but also that means nothing because once you pick it up, it just becomes a word on a list. Right. It's like, oh, I have a fork. Well, I can't really pull that fork out and spin it around in my hand, or I can't really like use it as a weapon. I can't eat with it. Like, it doesn't do anything in my inventory. It's
a thing.
It's like I own the idea of a fork at that point.
Right.
If you're going to give me the ability to pick up every item, I'd much rather it be a thing of like, I don't want to carry it around with me, but I could pick it up. I could, you know, if someone's attacking me, I can jab them in the neck with a fork, maybe. I don't know. But, you know, there's, like I said, there's probably a line there where it goes from being like, this is immersive and cool, and I feel like I'm in a kitchen or I'm in an office, to this is cumbersome and I don't give a shit and I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to walk away. So
probably a fine line between those two things.
Yeah,
man, these screenshots are kind of breathtaking, man. Like like the more it looks like somebody just took a picture of another screen, the more I feel like it's real. And some of these that I'm looking at, man, you got the same map in the bottom left across several of these screenshots, and it looks crazy.
I hold them to be legit in my mind. I think crazy. I think they're legit. And I mean, could those have been spoofed? Absolutely, 100%. But I don't know. There's something to them, something to the look of the characters, and something to the look of the environment that's just got me thinking like that. That's good.
I don't know if you've seen this one where it's like it kind of looks like you're controlling.
Yes,
I know it's blurry.
Yeah,
the amount of people in this screenshot, like NPCs walking around, is breathtaking, man. I mean, there are hundreds of just people walking about. It looks like the cinematic trailer, the first trailer. How many different people and like the variations of people on screen, and everybody's saying, "Oh yeah, that's pre-rendered. That's probably a bit, lofty. Don't expect that in gameplay."
Yeah,
that's kind of what this looks like. I mean, there are a ton of people.
I've got to wonder because like it's so comical to me, like the idea of someone being like, "Yeah, in GTA 3, people could just like go around and run people over and shoot people and just cause carnage." And it just made them go crazy in real life. Like, no, the fuck it didn't. You go back and watch those games, it's like, it's so corny looking. GTA 3 and even like Vice City and what's the Los Santos one? Why am I? It was Vice City and then, what's the one with CJ in it?
San Andreas?
San Andreas. Oh my God. Wow. That's 2 brain farts in one episode, dude. It's insane. You caught me with Franklin too. Again, people are gonna be like, you forgot the one with the black guy. You're racist. I'm not racist. But those look incredibly blocky and high poly now. But this to me, like you look at that landscape, like the people walking around in that trailer and you're like, I actually feel like I would feel a modicum of regret for like showing up to the beach and just pulling out an AK.
Dude, that's a good point. The more realistic the stuff gets, the less like video gamey, I mean, it can kind of get to a point where you're like, that looked pretty close to like what it would look like in real life.
Yeah.
If you're going 80 miles an hour down a busy beach in a vehicle, in a truck, and you're just mowing people over, that looked a little too realistic.
Yeah. There's also like certain things I think like how are the cops going to be in this game? You know what I mean? Like the cops in GTA 5, you go back to it and they're kind of like robots. They're very much like video game AI cops, you know. And in like Red Dead, if you walk through town with your rifle out, you know, the sheriff might be like, better put that gun away, son.
Right.
You know, they'll kind of just like call you out a little bit. If I go to an actual beach with an AK, I'll be arrested.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in this game, if you go to the beach and you pull out an AK-47, the cops should probably be like, "Hey, sir, put the gun down." Like,
yeah,
come
I
over.
mean, that's a good point. It's
put your hands on the car.
It's a fine. You want them to act more realistic, but you don't want to get to a point where, like, if you run a red light, now you're in a pursuit. You know, it's still a game. You still want to be able to like roam about the world semi carefree.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be interesting too to see. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be chased by a cop because I didn't obey a traffic law.
Yeah.
That's too much to me.
Yeah, or like you're headed to a mission and then you get like log jam at DFW type stuff. You're like, damn, you got to call your character and be like, hey, I'm not going to be there for another half hour. I got stuck in traffic.
That's pretty crazy.
It's a little too immersive. There's probably going to be a mod out there for just like fucking traffic.
Man, well, I'm pretty blown. I haven't seen these before. I'm pretty blown away by these screenshots.
I'm excited, man. I do feel like we're probably on the cusp of getting another look at the game. I don't know if it's going to be a gameplay or maybe just another trailer with a closer look at the story, maybe some character introductions. I feel like the dam is probably going to break. I think Rockstar is very acutely aware of buzz around their game, and if there's a leak, they're probably maybe not. They're not obligated to show us shit, but it'd be nice. And I say all this. I want to say this. I don't condone the leaks necessarily. I don't necessarily think it's good that things are leaking. I don't want to see this before it's ready. Mm-hmm. I'm fully on par with Rockstar's, you know, their release schedule for all this promo. But that said, they leaked, so you know, and
we're gonna look.
We're gonna look. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna turn a blind eye to that. So
yeah.
But yeah, GTA 6 supposedly coming 2025. Last thing I got for you, man. Any projections or guesses? I think we did this last year, but any last minute projections for when we get the game?
It's got to be. What did it say? Did it say spring or fall?
I think
of 2025.
I think it just said 2025, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's got to be around the holiday season, November.
So. I think so too. I think we're easily a year
away.
Yeah, which sucks. But
it really does suck, man. But it would be, man, to have like, because now you get a quite a bit of time off, you know, around the holidays or in December in particular, just for Christmas. Wouldn't it be pretty sweet to have like 2 or 3 weeks off around Christmas and GTA 6?
Oh yeah, I'll just bury myself in this game hole. Not come up for air for quite some time.
I don't think we see it earlier than that. I mean, maybe, I guess if I had to place like a second wager, it would be the summertime, maybe. I'm just trying to think of like when people are going to be most available to play it and buy it. I think number 1 would be holidays. Number 2 would probably be in the summer or something.
I could see that. This seems like a very summery game. Like there was something about
Miami.
There was something about Red Dead 2 dropping in. I want to say it was like early November.
It was October, I think.
Okay, late October, early November of 2018. But around the cold season, around the winter time, you start that game up in the snowy mountains. I think by the time I got my hands on it, it was very much like it was like cold and snowy. Mm-hmm. It was the right time to be playing that game, man. It was just like.
That's a good point, man.
Such a
this game doesn't have winter vibes. This is a summer game.
It feels like a summer game. I mean, I'm gonna play it whenever, but I feel like if that is a thought in their mind, then yeah, like let this be the summer of GTA 6, man. Let's hit the beach. Let's get on the hoverboat. Let's get the reel going. Let's go hunt some gators.
I can see that. The reality is, I don't think this game needs to worry that much about timing the drop. Like, it's gonna do numbers no matter when it comes.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of games, there's a strategy behind when it's released. I don't think there's a strategy with this game. You could release it today, and it's gonna do the same numbers it would do next year.
Yeah.
You don't have to build hype for this thing. Like, it is. Everybody's ready to bust all over this game. It doesn't matter when you release it.
They're about to bust.
Summer, man. I think I may have just talked myself out of saying holiday. I'm thinking June, July.
I'll go out on a limb. I'll say optimally, yeah, summer. My pessimistic realist side is going to say holiday release for this one. Anywhere from October to December time frame. So
you're probably right.
But
probably right.
More on that. We are going to try to take a more focused approach moving forward. We talked about Cody's talking about Stalker 2. I think we are going to try to maybe do a deep dive on that. But we've had several weeks of just kind of like talking about whatever came up on the old dome. But yeah, we're gonna look at trying to drill down on some stuff that we're enjoying or some stuff that we're excited about.
Gonna lock in. And as of right now, we are hopefully having an in-person episode this weekend.
We are. Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll have to figure out something for that. We can spruce it up, spice it up a little bit maybe.
Yeah.
But that'll be fun. I think do you want to do some write-ins or you want to kick it to next week?
No, let's save them.
Okay. We're going to save write-ins this week. Keep those coming in though. We love those. We'll do, like I said, we think we got like a mailbag episode in our future sometime.
Yeah.
But hey, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in this week, episode 55. What a banger. We'll be back next week. Hopefully I will have my voice and Cody and I will be live and in color with one another, which is very exciting. We don't get to do that.
Coming at you
live, baby. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Baja blessings of the season upon your little heads. Love you all very much. Happy holidays, happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa.
Merry Thanksgiving.
We'll see you next week.
See ya. My fists are hungry.
My fists are hungry. Get fist. See ya.